What's up, friends? You may have had spinach artichoke dip, but today we're doing jalapeno artichoke dip. Let's dig in. Oh, it's hot, but it's good. Oh, that's really good. All right, we got about 3 jalapenos here, and we want to make sure that we dice them really nicely so that they're finely diced. If you like to de-seed your jalapenos, you definitely can if you don't want it super spicy. I like everything that I do super spicy, so I'm choosing not to de-seed them. I just chop them up really fine until I get the shape and the size that I want before throwing them in the bowl and adding everything else in there. So you wanna make sure we get a really, like I said, really nice and small dice, especially on those little pieces. Now that we've drained our artichokes, it's time to chop them up. You don't really want them in these full pieces in the dip itself. We want to get them into fine pieces, not as fine as the jalapeno, but still smaller than what they are in the can. So we'll put them out on our chopping block here, and we'll chop away. And trust me, this is gonna go good. So many people do not use artichoke and jalapeno together. It's either like a spinach artichoke dip or it's just a spinach dip, but I promise you, you will not go wrong with spinach jalapeno dip. It is one of my favorite things in the world that I truly believe is underutilized. So we're gonna do it, and I promise you, you're gonna absolutely love it. Now, as you know, no dip is complete without a little bit of cheese, so we're gonna do a cup of Parmesan cheese, freshly shredded in here, and we're just gonna kind of measure with our hearts on this one. And if you don't have fresh Parmesan like the one I have here, it's totally okay to use a pre-shredded one or even the grated one. If you are using the grated one, I would suggest using a little bit more, just because it doesn't really melt and meld as well as a fresh Parmesan block does. But I will say, having a fresh Parmesan block on hand is always a good idea, even if you want to just take a piece off and eat it for yourself. That's okay too. It is time to add our mayo, and we're gonna do a cup. I like to use my 1/4 cup just because it fits really nicely in the mayo jar. And then we'll do 4 of those. I always like to keep a nice little spatula on hand just to get the extra out, and we're gonna do that 3 more times. Okay. All right, on to our cream cheese. You're gonna wanna use a whole block of cream cheese, or that's 8 ounces. Oh, well, it's fine. Let's get this open and get it on in there, and you're gonna want it to be softened. If you forget to take your cream cheese out of the fridge, one suggestion I can say is to put it in the microwave. Be careful not to microwave it too long, otherwise it will get really gloopy. And we don't want it gloopy, we just want it soft, pretty much the same consistency as the mayonnaise. So just make sure you get everything really well mixed in, and you have an even consistency of cream cheese, mayo, Parmesan, artichoke, and jalapeno all throughout the entire spread. Now that you got everything mixed together, it's time to throw it in your baking pan. So you can really use anything. I just went with a circular baking pan. All right, and once you have everything flattened out, we're just gonna top it with a bit more Parmesan cheese. Top that with a bit more Parmesan cheese just so you get a nice layer on top. It's gonna get a little crunchy as it bakes. So really as much or as little as you want. Just know that you're gonna get that nice Parmesan crust as you bake it. Now that we've got it all assembled, it's time to throw it in the oven at 350 for 35 minutes or until everything gets nice and bubbly. Okay, we've taken our jalapeno artichoke dip out of the oven, and as you can see, it was bubbly, delicious. It's got this really nice crust on top. Again, if you want to serve it in the dish that you're baking it in, I would suggest baking it in kind of a nicer dish than this. If you wanted to serve it in something else, it's not that it looks too bad when it comes out and you can't put it in anything, but as you see, we've got exactly what we want here, a nice cheesy crust, and you can see everything has been baked in because of the fact it was really nice and bubbly, which means that all of the ingredients have had time to soak in every flavor that this dip has to offer. Once you make this, I guarantee you're never gonna wanna go back to a traditional spinach dip again. This dip is so good, it's so complex, even though we didn't add any seasonings to it. It's creamy, it's delicious, it's spicy. It'll go well with bread and chips. A lot of the toughness of the artichoke gets taken out when you really cook it with everything. Trust me, this is not a dish that you wanna miss out on.